following the lead of a black man, or was it the Republican Party that used race to try to take down Obama politically? You tell me. How will history look upon Barack Obama when it comes to race relations? Do you agree with this poll? Again, there's a schism here. The majority of blacks and Hispanics in a recent poll believe that Obama tried to make race relations better. And that's because we remember the speeches and we remember all the examples of things where people wanted him to be a little more tough. They wanted him to say some things about race or whatever, and he never did. But how is it that half of whites think that Obama made race relations better? Only about half. But then a third feel like he made race relations worse. And that's because for them he did. Just the fact that he was there was the problem. That was the problem, straight up. And if you're looking for evidence of it, look at the fact that in his first term, people were purchasing weapons and ammunitions at record paces. You know, going in and buying up the gun shop because they were afraid and paranoid about his policies. They were paranoid about everything that they were told about him, it might come true. Like that he was a socialist, that he was going to take all your guns. I mean, here it is. We're winding down the second term, the last term of Barack Obama. And there's been no initiative whatsoever about confiscating guns. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Does the president of the United States, because he is biracial, because he is half black, does that mean that he has a responsibility to black people in particular? Because a lot of people would say, yeah. But is that fair? Is that really fair in your opinion? Crystal writes that we are talking about them putting us on like costumes. Then JT awkwardly walks into the room. Eyes right. Maybe Justin Timberlake didn't watch all of it and didn't quite understand. Maybe he didn't quite understand. Maybe he lives in a vacuum where everybody loves him and the people that's got to raise the issues of cultural appropriation, where they're just people that just don't want to be nice. They just don't want to be nice. They're not good people, right? James writes, please enlighten me on how the POTUS made race relations worse, or did the racist just come out more because he's biracial? I think you're right. I think the racist came out even more because he was biracial. Deanna writes, President Obama didn't improve race relations. He exposed it. America's true colors, racists who went underground but came out like cicadas on a 17-year cycle. That's a good point. She says, look, Obama didn't improve race relations. He exposed race relations. That's an excellent flow. I agree with you, Deanna. That's an excellent flow. She's absolutely right. She's right. He's right. Yeah, post-racial America over here, right? We're so damn post-racial that the president received more death threats in the first couple of years of his first term than do presidents who have two terms. We're just so damn post-racial. Welcome to post-racial America, right? Dr. King's dream has finally come true. And it's a level playing field here in the United States, okay? Does not matter what you look like. It only matters the content of your character. We made it. That's a great flow, Deanna. I agree with you. His ascendancy politically to the president's office exposed how people really feel about race. I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, you want to help people because they're downtrodden. You want to help a brother. You want to help them up. That's one thing. It's another when a brother's on top and you still want to help him. That's different. Dale writes, no, his election made it worse, sad to say. Let's be honest. It brought out the most racist people from the darkest corner of the United States into the daylight. Lawrence writes, how simple would it have been for President Obama to say what Jesse Williams said? Say monthly. He could have did more, but it was his choice. Good morning, Lawrence. Good to see you. Could Barack Obama have delivered a Jesse Williams type flow? Hasn't he already, though? I mean, in a lot of ways, the president has said that. Now, he hasn't said it every month or so. But I remember he was in Philadelphia talking about race and his grandmother and talking about these unnecessary divisions that we create between ourselves, these unnecessary classifications. Maybe not as eloquently or as aggressively to some degree as Jesse Williams, but stop me when I'm wrong. You're wrong. I think that it was ridiculous for black people who never really held Obama his feet to the fire when he was campaigning during the first election. Black people didn't really want to hold him accountable. All we wanted to do was see him and put a crown on his head. And damn it, they better vote for him because he's got all the right credentials. But that's what Tavis Smiley was trying to do. He was trying to say, listen, we should have a black agenda. What is it that we want for the president? And people shot him down. Oh, you just a hater. You like Hillary on the low. So if you don't have an agenda walking into the door, who could be surprised that 8 years later, as he's leaving, as he's exiting, it's over. We don't know. No more Mr. President. No more Obama. No more Michelle Obama. No more Sasha and Malia. And at least not in the White House. Who can be surprised? Jane writes, good morning, Nathan and Chop Shop. Late checking in. Glad to have you. John agrees with Lawrence. Rhonda writes, I'm late, but I'm here, and I believe President Obama helped to expose the racism in everyday Americans. See, a lot's going to be written about whether the president helped relations or he hurt relations. It's like some people can only think in like two dimensions. Either he helped or he hurt. The reality is that, Deanna's right. Rhonda's right. Anybody who believes this way is right. And that is, he exposed it unwittingly. All he was trying to do was become the president. But in becoming the president, he exposed how America really feels about race. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Do you believe that there's on any level a connection between all of these examples of police brutality and black people being treated very, very roughly by law enforcement and the fact that on some level, psychologically, the president is a black man? Is there any connection with that? Is that too much of a stretch? Is that too much of a stretch? Or you tell me. And again, these polls, there'll be a lot of them. You never know. You never know. I'm reading that Jill Scott got married. Everybody's favorite big girl. She got married. I'm a big Jill Scott supporter. First couple of albums, classic. And a lot of tracks along the way. She's booed up now. Jill Scott at 44 married a long-term boyfriend in a top secret wedding. It's top secret, but then again, there have been some photographs that have made it out. 44 years old, married. I mean, after 44 years on this earth, and you've never gotten married, I mean, is that too old to get married? Is there like a cutoff age? And I know people have gotten married and they meet in their 50s and 60s, but after 40 years, I mean, you're pretty much set in your ways. I mean, you are who you are, right? You are who you are, but I wish them the best. Oh, wedding bliss, black love in general is a beautiful thing. When you find someone who you can make a real connection with and you feel like you can make a real life, you got to boom them up. You got to snatch them up real quick. A mother has been charged after her 6-year-old son fatally shot his younger brother. And this happened in East Orange, New Jersey. Authorities say a 6-year-old New Jersey boy was playing with a gun and he fatally shot his 4-year-old brother in the head. And now the mother has been arrested. And she's been charged with endangering the welfare of a child and also a weapons violation. And if you had to listen, the mother is black. She's black. And that's just got to be terrible. You're a mother, you got 2 children you want to protect. This world is crazy. So now you got a weapon in the house. You fall asleep or you're just unaware. Your children come across the gun. They play with the gun. And now your child is dead. My question is this. Why are so many children drawn to guns? Why is it? Why do they even know what it is? You know, how does a child know to pick up a gun? And it's because there's a lot of violence on television. That's why. And something tells me that those kids have probably been involved with it. They've been around it. They've been allowed to watch these movies where there's war or there's fighting and there's killing, or they're playing first-person shooter games at a very young age. But why would a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, why would they even want to play with a gun? And that's just terrible. That's just absolutely terrible. Some tells me that woman's probably already been through enough. And so now the authorities are going to slap an arrest and a charge on her. Bail was set at $300,000. So this must have been a very terrible incident. I mean, was this mother just was she asleep at the wheel? And what do you think about that practice? And it's happened here in Ohio. You hear about a kid, he's playing with a gun. Somehow he comes across the gun, either shoots himself or shoots a friend or shoots a family member or shoots a relative or something like that, right? In those cases, should an adult always be charged? It was very, very sad. Looks like a young woman, too. I'd say somewhere in her 20s. So now her life is totally different. She's lost her child. Her family's been badly damaged. And now she got to deal with these legal issues on top of everything else. Very, very sad. If you own a weapon, you have to lock it up. Lock it up. If you own a weapon, as you should, to protect yourself and your children and your man and your woman, or maybe mom and dad live with you or some other relative, you have to protect them. I understand it. But what's wrong with a gun lock? I can understand it. If you have a weapon, you don't want to lock it away so that if you need it, okay, in a moment, then it's going to be too difficult for you to get to it to defend yourself. I get it. I understand that. It makes perfect sense. However, what's wrong with a gun lock? Simple gun lock. Okay, great. Boom, put the key in, put a simple combination, whatever it is. Boom. Now you're ready to go. If your children come across it, they can pick it up, they can play with it, but they can't fire it. And to me, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. James writes, Gun Safety 101, why not use gun locks or a safe? Exactly. Tiffany Walker writes, there have been many instances where this has happened with white women and they weren't charged. Dale writes, I think there's a connection between the uptick in Chicago's very high murder rate in the past few years and Obama, who's from Chicago, South Side's presidency. So you think there's a connection between the murder rate and the fact that Obama is the president? I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know if I agree with that one. Maybe. You could be onto something. Omar writes, the Gilligan of the week goes to the person who allowed my Jilly to get married. Oh, that's your Jilly? That's your Jilly? Cruther writes, no, 44 is not too old. Crystal writes, when he spoke about Trayvon Martin, he said, this could have been my son. That's exactly what Obama said. And that was a beautiful moment. But the challenge for Obama is, see, that was relatively easy compared to saying that if, let's say the coward George Zimmerman, whatever rock he's under right now. Let's say the coward George Zimmerman was a law enforcement officer. Do you believe that Barack Obama would have said that Trayvon Martin reminds him of his son? Say, that could have been my boy. Probably not. Why? Because it inflames the public against law enforcement. And when you're the president of the United States, then you have to be very, very careful to make sure that you don't piss off law enforcement or turn off law enforcement. You need them. And then some would say that that's an improper an improper thing for the White House or the president, the man who lives in the White House, to even a position for him to take. That's why you never see it. I mean,